isn't it? I am Countess Rose, and welcome to Two Mares Review, where we review anything from character design to fanfiction. I'm here with my co-host, Firescales.
Hi, peeps.
And today we're actually doing what we originally set out to do, and review OCs.
Yay!
I would first like to thank everyone who either agreed to have us talk about your OCs or submitted yours for review. Thank you so much. You are the ones who make this possible. We greatly appreciate you letting us do this.
Y'all are awesome.
Yes. So, we're going to have the basic setup of we each have brought on two OCs. We're going to alternate between, and prior to this, we have done a coin toss. So, Firescales is going first tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be showing what we are talking about when we say, oh, you could do this or this. We're going to show you. So if you'd like to start that.
Get out of here.
Okay, so Firescales, do you want to tell us about your OC that you first brought on?
Yeah, my first good OC, his name is Xavier West by Rami V. Vidal Art on DA. I'm sorry about the butcher.
All links to all artists will be in the description below.
Yes. He has nicknames like West, Captain Grumpy, the Compass, and Dork. How adorable. His age is depicted in this image here, about 40 years old. His race is a unicorn, but he has inherited a earth pony built from his grandfather. He likes many things like writing mermaids, fruit, bar songs, reading his stories to other ponies. He likes seaweed, candles, working with his hooves, crabs, myths, and coffee. He dislikes disrespect towards others because they are lower. He dislikes rum, fish, the dark, and rain, which I'm kind of like, he's a pirate and yeah, he's on the salty seas and it'd be raining a lot out there.
Wait, did that say rum on his dislikes?
Yes.
Why is all the rum gone?
Why is the rum gone? Why is the rum gone?
A non-alcoholic pirate.
Yeah. Not too shabby, I like that. No. His cutie mark is a sea treasure map with a pen. He's not completely sure what it means, but it could be referring to how he used to be really good at drawing and reading maps, or it could be reference to the books he's writing about his life as a pirate and afterwards. His personality, he doesn't like to rush himself into things. He overthinks his situation. He's polite and a good listener and likes to give advice. He does have kind of a short temper, even though he doesn't like to show it that much. He's bad at showing his emotions, which can result sometimes in him being to explode in frustration, because he is actually emotional and he can't express his feelings. Poor darling. He loves helping others, but he has the problem of his built and accidentally intimidating other ponies. He can be a bit of a dork around the ladies. And doesn't take subtle hints very well. Sounds like a general man. They're not very good at taking hints. He's also kind of the not very overly protective boyfriend father, if I read that correctly. But according to his personalities, basically he's very loyal. If you have him as a friend, then he will defend you if you get hurt and stuff like that. His bio is he's an ex-pirate, and his job was to draw and read maps. And he was basically the right hoof of his captain, but his captain died, and so Xavier took over it, but only for about a short amount of 5 years. Then his ship got blown up by rival pirates, and he lost many of his crew members. And so they decided that instead of trying to sail the salty seas again, they decided to just go their separate ways, go to their loved ones, and settle down and be normal, basically. And he basically lived at the sea. He wasn't really ready to quite settle down yet. But he decided, for entertainment's sake, to start writing his own adventures after being persuaded. And he's bought a small houseboat, and he surprisingly became quite accustomed to the peaceful lifestyle. He doesn't talk much, and he finds socializing a little difficult, which is kind of interesting since apparently his writings have become quite popular. And let me see. There's the artist wrote quite a backstory, and I might skim a little bit just for the sake of not going on forever and ever.
Yes, we don't want a rerun of your backstory.
He has a strange obsession with mermaids and kelpies, which I'm just kind of like, he's a pirate, you know. Mermaids and kelpies attract the men. It's kind of like the stereotypical pirate
Sirens
story.
of the sea.
Yeah, pretty much. And his very interesting horn is a birth defect gene. It doesn't really add anything special. It's mainly just something visual. And I like how the artist has worst habits: irregular eating, and smoking. And he is apparently in a relationship with a mare called Aromatic, and I'm sorry we could not find a picture of her sad day.
We have looked.
I've looked quite extensively, and yes, we cannot find her. So yes. So what do you think of his backstory?
I think it's pretty. I kind of like the pirate backstories. It's not really all that thick on details, but it gives a pretty basic gist of what this guy was like. He was a pirate, and his ship got blown up, so instead of his crew trying to scramble to get another ship so they continue pirating, they was like, maybe this isn't for us. You want to go back home to the wife? Sure.
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, it's simple, kind of like, you know, because he is kind of simple in character, and so his story is not overly like cannons and explosions and treasure and whatnot. It's just, you know, he was a pirate, and he tried to make things work, but when they didn't, he kind of just, you know, accepted the fact that it wasn't for him, so he just kind of went home and made something else of his life and tried something different,
which apparently worked out for him. Although apparently to get the really juicy adventure stories, you had to read his books.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's kind of like a different Daring Do in a way, like another version of Daring Do.
Oh my gosh, Daring Do being real pisses me off.
I don't like it either, but anyway, that's for another thing.
That's an entirely different topic that we're not going to touch on, because I can go on and on. But
so I think, you know, his story is pretty fleshed out. It's like it's basic, which fits him, and it's basically all I have to say about it. I think it works, and I kind of, you know, I want to know more. I mean, like, I obviously want to know what his love interest is, who she is, and whatnot. So it leaves me off, you know, wanting more, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's like, you have my attention, please continue. So maybe a little bit more fleshing out of the stories. I actually think him in a fanfiction would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just kind of like, I read this comic book series called, I think it's like The Story. I'll put a cover to one of them in the video or whatnot. But basically, all it is about this guy who sits in this chair and tells a story to his dog, and that is the entire premises of the comic, and is so entertaining. So I can see that being something for him, where he's just like, I'm on my boat, my houseboat, and I'm writing the story. Or it says that he likes to read his books or stories to little ones, to foals and whatnot, foals and fillies. So that could be something interesting for him, is, you know, he likes, you know, that could be his adventure and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to move on to aesthetics?
Yes. He's so interesting. I love how he's just stocky and big boned and very strong built. And I really like it when artists explore like the Appaloosa horses, which is not quite show style, but it makes it unique because of that. And I'm not sure how I feel about the double horn. It makes him stand out. Makes him identifiable and makes his profile interesting. which for an artist, as you know, you always want to put something like as a pure black, just to kind of see what its silhouette looks like, and if it's recognizable as a silhouette, it's good.
Although on that topic, the silhouette really doesn't matter. So in fact, his second horn is kind of covered up by his mane, so it doesn't really come through in the silhouette.
You can see a little bit right there.
Yeah, just a smidge, but still. I actually really like the style he's drawn in. It kind of gives like this old grandfatherly vibe to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a kind old soul.
And I like, one thing I appreciate is, because they have something as unusual as a double horn, I like how they kept their color scheme very kind of natural
and
neutral. So that way, because the double horn and like the coat and the color kind of makes it loud enough. So having like bright pastel-y or kind of colors would make it just too overpowering.
Mm-hmm.
So and the colors feel laid back, which also fits his personality very well.
Yes. The slight pops of blue, I think, were a nice touch. They're not overbearing. They go well with the earthy tones of the browns and the creams. And usually where I like the mane style and the tail style to match, but the fact that he just has that little cut-off bob kind of makes sense. Like, you don't want his tail getting caught in something, especially like rigging of a ship or whatever.
Yeah, it's easier to keep up with a mane than it is a tail. So
yeah, even if you are a unicorn.
Mm-hmm. So and I like his mustache and beard and sideburns. I like it when people draw their OCs. At least like this, it fits him very well. It fits his character.
Yeah, beards on ponies are kind of hard to portray very realistically, in my opinion, and how it actually runs up his face and merges into his mane, I think was a nice way to handle it.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I might say is that I think the cutie mark is a little over-designed. To me, it's a little too complicated. I think one thing I would probably just suggest is taking out like the line, what are they called?
Latitude and longitude lines?
Yeah, they are. Let me do that. Basically, these lines I can read it's a map very easily. In fact, I mean, this would make sense if you're trying to portray a globe.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact it's on a piece of parchment, it makes sense it's a map, so we don't really necessarily need these. I can read it as a map very easily with the very simple land shapes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and the quill seems a little hidden.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to see.
Yeah, the pin doesn't... I'm like, is it behind... Oh, it's behind the map.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, is it cut in half or... Okay. Okay, I see now.
So I would possibly move the pen maybe more to the front and maybe even like up here more towards the corner.
Maybe
because like this is all curled down here, and if you insist on keeping these lines, then just bringing the quill just up in front of all this.
It'll seem more busy.
It will be very busy. So moving it up here where there's not much traffic in terms of design and whatnot.
Also, there's negative space, at least in the map point.
Yeah, all this negative space. And the pen can fill up very easily and not feel not feel very busy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I have a question. Was this explained in the backstory? But all those drawings, well, except for obviously the horn one, are those like other tattoos he has? Because I know that skull on his shoulder is a tattoo.
I'm not exactly sure what they are. I mean, this kind of explains his love of like sea ponies and mermaids and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they're just random baubles that he has. I mean, because there's his ink and quill for writing and harpoon and rope.
Because like see that one that says tattoo right leg. Is that just the triple X or whatever?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, please explain what exactly these things are. That would be beneficial.
Because like how they're drawn, they kind of look like there would be tattoo designs. Because pirate pony tattoos.
Yeah.
Overall, I really like him. He's earthy, kind of has a very nice feel to him. His design, I think, is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Lovely art style and coloring.
Oh my gosh, I love your style. It's so pretty.
And keep it up. I love it.
If you have a picture of his wife, we would very much like to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
you can go ahead and submit it. We'll look at it.
We'll look at it. We'll probably thoroughly enjoy her, and I might want to draw fan art of them. But I probably will not be as good close to your design because that's so far from my style.
Now, to each their own.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to mine. This is Briar Thorn. She is a female earth pony. Her nicknames are Briar and Rose, and she resides in West Canterlot. Her cue mark is a rose with a red droplet behind it. She has no special sun pony or side ships. Kind of a weird side note there. Her personality, she is quiet, brooding, happiest when building floral arrangements or figuring out new natural flower-based herbal remedies and potions. Her speciality is therapeutic tinctures, or I'm just going to say tonics, but does have an under-the-counter love potion that is rather notorious for its strength. Rarely sells this, and her clientele is more of the black market type. Main interests, everything flower related, rain, natural magics, and herbal remedies. Her job is a herbalist, specializing in flower-based tonics and potions. I really like her. She doesn't have much of a backstory, really, because
it's more of an explanation of what she is.
Yeah.
Than where she came from.
I would love to have a full backstory of this character, because I just saw her and I was like, she would make a really interesting secondary character in a story. Like, someone had to go to this really low-key black market herbalist to get like some kind of potion, and I'm just like, I want this story to be written.
I don't know why. I can kind of see her kind of knowing a lot of changelings because of what she does.
Yeah. She has that, like, yeah, seriously, you want to get hooked up on some love? Go find this person. She has a badass love potion.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta talk her into it. She wants to love to just anyone.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not that much to discuss.
Yeah. I would have loved to have gotten some backstory on her. I did ask, but apparently something else happened and I wasn't able to get the information. So let's just skitty dad onto aesthetics.
My gosh, she be dark.
Yeah, she's kind of dark. I kind of like the monochromatic style of her because she has overall a kind of reddish tinge to her, but it's more of a darker tone. My one critique is, could you pull up a Dodge brush and then just kind of dab it on her face?
Photoshop be doing weird stuff.
It's like just brighten up her face just a smidge. So you can actually like see it.
No, look at that beautiful face that we couldn't see before. Look how beautiful.
Yes. So it's mainly just couldn't really see her face in comparison to her mane.
I mean, I will say the dark colors kind of fit her, at least of what we know of her, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's kind of mysterious, kind of doing some possibly illegal things, and so the dark, kind of mysterious color scheme fits.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's just so close together that I kind of almost see her as just a big blob, and it's hard to distinguish because, like, you know, right now, just with the brightening of the face a little bit, it's so much better.
Yeah, we can actually see her pretty face, which I do enjoy her. I really enjoy her high Victorian style collar.
Yeah, I like that too.
She has a personality. You can just like kind of tell she's really, she can tell she's like not one to be messed with or taken lightly, and I like that about her.
She has connections.
She has connections, and she knows someone who can mess you up.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a classy lady, and she is very well versed in her craft.
Yeah.
Well, that's the vibe I'm getting from her.
I kind of do like the roses, but just there's so many of them that the rose in the cutie mark gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
It just completely disappears because these are so much more brighter and vibrant compared to the rose that's very close to her main colors.
I feel like the roses are in her main and like all the colors, so it just kind of slapped out on top because the shading and the line work on them feel different from the rest of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think either tone them down a bit, like make them less and spend more time on like giving them a little bit of depth like you did in the main and the actual body. They won't feel that way, but other than that,
I think just have roses near the ear, so it's like a little pin, and just get rid of all the rest. That way it kind of, because we know we have some roses here, we have a rose here, and it'll balance out completely.
yeah, well, like I personally kind of like a couple in the tail, but I can see where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm.
As for her cutie mark, I really actually like the design.
It's alright.
Because like she makes potions with flowers, but she also has like a dark, mysterious side. So her cutie mark kind of like, oh, what is that actually?
Mm-hmm.
It fits.
Is that a that's a highlight right there, right?
I want to say yes is a highlight.
It kind of makes it look hollow.
Maybe if you take the secondary highlight out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that one little really bright swoosh of
Should I try that?
Yeah, try it.
Brush time. Booyah. And I'm not going to open up my brush menu because I have too many.
Yes, you do. Good grief. Yeah, like that.
Ah, that's nice.
Want to do that up on the big picture too? So it's easier to see?
Doop. For all you lovely viewers out there.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that looks very, very interesting. Because, I mean, the one thing that, it looked hollow, so it kind of maybe could have been like, a metaphor kind of a potion kind of bottle thing, but, that would be getting into too much for a cutie mark, and so just sticking with, like, the blood drop would be perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
She seems dainty, but with an edge.
Yes. As for her color scheme, the greens and yellows in her collar. I don't know how I feel about the yellows per se, but the greens kind of match with her red tinge.
It's a nice breath of fresh air from all of her dark reds, seeing this kind of slightly brighter green.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of breaks it up a little bit.
Yeah, and actually, the more I look at it, the more I kind of like the gold accents. Any more that would have been too much, but I think the amount you have here is just right.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Very lovely OC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
do
you want to do it before and after real quick?
What do you mean?
Like before, after what we did the alterations?
We can. Maybe. The dodge
just,
stuff is going to be interesting because...
just pull up the history and flip.
Alright.
Maybe we should leave the history open.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so got it.
Oops.
Oopsie.
And come on. Paint bucket. There you go.
Okay, so there's the before.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the after. Very slight alterations, but you can see the face better. It's more separate from the main. And the cutie mark is... Actually, it seems has more depth without that other shade in there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these again are just our opinions, our little critiques, and our suggestions on how to alter it.
Yep. We hope you like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, moving on to your second OC, Fire Scales.
The needs a little improvement OC.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So, who dat? This is Hay Fever. Hay Fever, he lives with a close friend in a place called the Whitetail Woods. And also he's a male, earth pony, whatnot. He stays with a friend, he pays for his stay by planting flowers and fruits because he felt bad because he wasn't able to repay him, I guess, with bits, actual currency. He's extremely allergic to pollen, but since he loves gardening so much, he just deals with the sniffles. When he's not caring for his plants, he likes to read because he's a big bookworm. And when he was younger, he's a lot younger than the main six and shorter. And he constantly worries over something bad happening to his plants and ponies that he cares about. He is messy and unorganized, forgets to brush his hair or his teeth a lot. His cutie mark is the bees followed and bothered him a lot because he smells constantly of nectar from caring for his gardens. He got his cutie mark by actually realizing that he could communicate with bees and help local gardens and farms by pollinating their crops.
Interesting cutie mark story and ability.
I will admit the cutie mark story kind of came out of left field.
Yeah.
I thought it would just be like a simple, hey, I'm just good at gardening, so. And communicating with bees is kind of I don't know.
We have a character who can communicate with animals, but it's like all animals, but like be able to communicate with only bees.
Mm-hmm. And just, is it only bees? Can he communicate with other bugs? Can he communicate with spiders? It's just. And I thought he would just, have a, a good gardening sense because we kind of learned that earth ponies already have kind of a good growing sense. So.
Yeah. Kind of a basic backstory, except the talent came kind of. It's like, hi, I can do this, by the way. I was like, okay, you can do that.
But it's just, one thing that's mainly missing is how were the bees or hay fever able to communicate? What brought that? Was there, a famine of flowers and the bees were starving and they went to hay fever for help, or was it just purely accidental? It's not really explained. So
explaining would be nice.
Mm-hmm. When you have such an unusual ability and such a specific ability as communicating with bees, explaining why you chose it would help us and whoever else reads it better understand and better accept your idea.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad idea. It's just we're confused slightly by how it came about.
Yeah, it is kind of like, oh, I love playing flowers. By the way, I do this. And you're just kind of like, well, I was not expecting that. That's actually what I felt like when I first read this.
Mm-hmm.
I find it kind of humorous how he's allergic, but he just deals with it anyway. But I kind of have a feeling that something could have been worked out for him to not have such severe symptoms. I'm sure the technology is somewhat advanced in Equestria or in this AU, whichever it is.
I kind of like it because it's like I really enjoy this, but it kind of makes me have the sniffles. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that one friend that's lactose intolerant, but still insists on eating ice cream.
That was me about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I got lactose intolerant. I was just like, too bad. I like cereal. Deal with it, stomach.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty basic, one tone, and it gets the point across. It's not too bad. I mean, you could maybe develop who his friend is.
Mm-hmm.
We get no name, or not even. We don't know if it's even a pony. It could be a dragon or something else. No idea. Maybe possibly explaining what this Whitetail Woods is.
I think it's just a place.
Is it just a place?
Yeah, I think I've actually heard people use that in fan fiction before.
Okay.
I need a map of Equestria pretty soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be my background on my computer.
Just where is this?
Let me minimize real quick and just. And because explaining what his friend is, what his friend does would help, because what does his friend feel about hay fever not paying back in actual money or cooking or whatnot, but with plants and flowers and fruits.
Does he often bring bees home and he's just like has bumblebees in his house all the time because his friends talk to him?
Is his friend allergic to bee stings? That'd be kind of funny. You can take that idea if you would like it. Just kind of develop the world around hay fever, because right now all we know is just a little bit about him and his Cutie Mark story.
He's in a tiny little bubble within a void.
Mm-hmm. So that's my main critique about his backstory. So, aesthetics. I did not know this. When I first looked at this, I thought it was a female.
I did too, but there's nothing wrong with effeminate-looking guys. But
no, but
I think the ponytail was a factor.
Yeah,
and also the rounded muzzle.
Yeah, because most of the males have very square, strong jaws.
Yeah. But then again, I think this comes into the feminine-looking dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I like your style. It has a lot of emotion in it.
It's interesting. It's unique.
It's interesting.
I like how I do enjoy how big you draw your ears and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the main thing I have right now is just the mane, because that hair be coming down pretty far, basically around the glasses area. I mean, I don't know exactly how you would tweak it or change it.
I think it's just a personal taste, really. The one thing I think his Cutie Mark is a little bit over-designed.
Yes, I would agree with that. I mean, you could reduce it down to a very simple flower, but what you have is, that's a hibiscus on his butt. And so when I of all people can identify the species of flower that you've chosen, it's a little over-designed. It's a very interesting idea because he likes to plant flowers, and pollen is, the pollen is in the air, but I think you could really simplify
it, and I could read better, because I had trouble sometimes seeing the explosion of pollen around the Cutie Mark flower.
Mm-hmm. And it would allow you to, it would open up for you to use, because, I mean, what do you think about the blue of the flower and the fact it's not nowhere else on the pony? It's a little bit surprising.
Yeah, usually, personally with me, use one color in like a design or in a drawing once, it's, this is just here. Use it at least in two places is like, this is intentional. So maybe using not the exact shade of blue, but some variation of blue in his eyes instead of green might do a better contrast. Yeah.
Watch me butcher this.
You want a new layer there?
Yes, I do.
There you go.
All right, and then we go. Okay, let's see.
A little bit closer to blue. Up. Right there.
That be blue. And it doesn't have to be a complicated flower. I mean, all we need is just a, very.
Oh, you're drawing the Cutie Mark? I thought you was drawing the coloring the eyes.
Oh, the color of the eyes?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also just kind of showing the Cutie Mark as well.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have an actual very specific flower, and that's just way over detailed. I mean, you can go very simple flower, and then maybe take the. But anyway, the eyes. All right, everybody. Inception. Moink, 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 moink. Normally I would do this with the selection tool and whatnot and make it look all pretty, but then would be here for hours.
Yeah. Although.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If we can backtrack to the Cutie Mark from I May.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I personally am really enjoying the shape of your Cutie Mark. Yeah.
Just leave it there.
This is not my tablet. I'm not used to this one.
Because it's tiny.
Yes, it is tiny. It's like half the size of mine. So, like, I really enjoy... Where is my mouse?
It's
There
right
it is.
there.
Okay. So, I really enjoy the shape. So, maybe the general shape can stay the same. I don't know what the... Okay, so general shape can stay the same. But instead of having, like, all the outlines, you keep just mainly a blob of color. And then just like a little, like simplify it a little bit. Like then you have the
Yeah, I like how just keep the pollen just on the top part of a flower where the actual bloom is, because it just makes it more sense than like just a explosion of pollen in the air
like,
that he breathes every day.
Yeah, but I really like the general shape of it. I think it's just too much in it, like the outlines of each petal and such.
I mean,
but then again, that might be a stylistic choice.
I mean, because the cutie mark that's on him is outlined, even though in the speech bubble it's not. It's very faint, but I can see it. Mm-hmm. And so there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors in that cutie mark.
Yeah.
My goodness, that'd be a lot. So you can take this critique and apply them. You don't, but
throw it out the window for all we care.
Yeah, just
it's like
a good start.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of room for improvement.
Yeah, so before and after, I think just mainly using a similar color.
Pretty much. I mean,
it's like it's just mainly changing the color, so it's like you have a more cohesive color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, his color scheme is very nice. I like the yellows with the creams, and the blue's a nice little touch of color.
Mm-hmm.
The redness around the eyes and the nose.
It fits. It fits very well.
It fits, and it's just like handled very well. And I really enjoy him.
Mm-hmm.
Needs a little bit of improvement, but everyone does.
All right.
Okay, time for mine.
Happy face. With, to match your OC, a little bit of red. And red nose, because he's sick. Because of all the sneezes. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is the OC that I was given. And his name is Vulcan Magmore. I hope I pronounced that right. He is a lord and an alicorn. His job is monitoring and controlling the heat of the world, also controlling the magma flow if it becomes irregular, controlling Wendigo's migrations, and one of the original creators of the Tartarus prison alongside his father and sister. Current location, the Eternal and pit for the biggest and worst people in Equestria to be sealed away for eternity. He is one of the 3 members, the others being Tyrek, and the third is unknown. He was born as an alicorn. His history is he was the successor to his father, who controlled the world's flow and heat before him. His father, Lord Magmor himself, had a Vulcan, had a strict upbringing, had very little friends, as most of his time was devoted to his studies. And he also had the job of caring for the Magmas, a race of ponies made of stone and lava, who was created with the Magmor family's magic. After his father's death due to his sister poisoning him, Vulcan, at the age of 34, took to the throne and took over his father's responsibilities. After several years, he met his cousin because all Alicorn families are from the same family unless they are direct relatives, Celestia. And apparently they had several talks about his position in the Equestria. After the banishment of Discord, the Draconis gave the Magma Alicorn a lot to think about, as he posted a good question about how he gets a lack of respect from ponies. Ultimately, after years of being blamed for the deaths of ponies by volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, even though he doesn't control the earth itself, only the magma flows under it, and the heating and cooling of the quest itself, he struck out. Celestia said he was being out of line, however, he believed that her ponies were, as the tensions grew between him and Celestia. The tensions lasted until one day when a pony lashed out at him in anger for the death of his son at the hands of an eruption. And Vulcan snapped and killed him, and from there he spiraled down into darkness, which led to a war between him and Celestia and Luna. He was able to defeat Celestia, but was beaten by Luna. But as his last act of defiance, he destroyed all the magma ponies, and after the genocide of the race that was created by his family's magic, he was sealed in the eternal magical shackles, being locked onto his hooves to cut off his magic in connection to the magma that he had controlled. Celestia visits him every 10 years to see if he's ready for reformation. However, he sees no change of doing so. He has been forgotten in history books until Twilight comes to visit him to ask about the magma ponies, who have apparently returned in this AU. I'm going to assume this is an AU. I hope this is an AU. Okay. His weaknesses are overconfident, limited magical abilities. Stubborn, egotistical, angers easily to care, cold, alpha Wendigos, ice magic, more of a general than a leader. He doesn't understand compassion, blah blah blah. Strengths, earth pony size is the most dominant trait, manipulation of lava and magma, ability to heat and cold, blah blah blah. Okay, this part confuses me. Secret. His father once imprinted a copy of his persona on Vulcan's mind, which broke open from his mental seals when he lashed out on the pony who attacked him. Vulcan's real persona is a little more caring and compassionate, and he wouldn't commit genocide. Twilight's compassion and attempt to befriend him slowly broke down the aspects of his persona and causing a mental conflict in him. Okie dokie. That was a backstory.
He is all over the place.
Okay, let's go this time by time. First off, how is it a pony who is in charge of magma flow control the Wendigo migration? And why do Wendigos migrate?
I mean, don't they just stay up north, just continuously?
Apparently not in this AU. Okay, my one complaint about this entire backstory is there's bits and pieces here that are workable, but there are also holes in it that could swallow up Kentucky.
Fried chicken.
Okay then.
Had to say that.
Oh, of course you did. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I do like the idea of how there's tension between ponies and him because he kind of influences eruptions and lava and all that, geological jazz. But ponies kind of misconstrue that to where he has control over all lava, and so they blame him for all of the deaths and destruction and whatnot. That part I kind of do like. Everything else,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's okay. Basically, when it comes to Alicornoses, you either have the ones that are like, why are they alicorns? Which he isn't. He actually has a purpose, which is controlling magma, which some alicorns are in charge of, like, major facets of nature, which is interesting to go about. Although, my one question is, seeing that his unicorn magic isn't all that strong, and there's no talk of him flying, why does he have to be an alicorn?
Yeah, the one thing that kind of always confuses me is these people create alicorns, and they're like, oh, but his wings are useless, or oh, he or she can't do magic. If you're gonna create an alicorn, then make it an alicorn. Make it do magic. Make it fly.
Own that shit.
Just own it, and I mean, obviously, some flaws would be beneficial and all that jazz. I'm sure y'all have heard the arguments till Kingdom Come about that. But it's like people say if his magic's bad, don't make him an alicorn. But also sometimes it's also the opposite way. Make him an alicorn if you want him to be an alicorn.
Yes, if you want an alicorn character, do not try to take away his alicornness. If he's going to be an alicorn, let him rock it. But he has to have flaws, either personality or maybe he has a physical thing.
Besides the powers,
because
the powers are basically absolute. They have to be there for him to be an alicorn.
Or have a reason behind it, like there was an accident, his powers were sealed away, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Not that, oh, by the way, his powers just aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like there's something here, but it needs some tweaking.
I mean, it's very strange how it starts out as just an alicorn family who control an aspect of nature, to something that's on the lines of like the big villains in My Little Pony, and I'm kind of confused as to what exactly he is and what part he plays.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of curious on his sister, who we don't even get a freaking name.
Mm-hmm.
Who apparently saw fit to murder their father, and she apparently did not get any repercussions from this act, or is never heard from again.
It's because, like,
she's a footnote.
I mean, like, for someone like, if you're going to poison your father who's the king, I mean, like, maybe usually it's because you want to take over the throne, and if so, then why is he not been tried to be poisoned or murdered or whatnot?
Mm-hmm. Also, the whole fact that there's a magma pony race. And we...
Elaborate, please.
Yes, please. That sounds like an interesting idea. A complete race made out of living rock and molten stone.
Reminds me of dwarves.
Oh, you and your dwarves. Good grief.
Gimli!
Yeah. Gimli fangirl.
Hey, I have a signature from him.
Oh, you're gonna just rub that in, aren't you?
I will rub it in. Yes. Gimli. Okay, anyway,
back to the magma pony. You want to talk about aesthetics, or do you have anything else to add about his backstory?
I'm just kind of looking. I do find it interesting how he is a unicorn, but a certain trait is slightly more dominant than the other. That's something I've never really heard before.
Yeah, it's like,
which makes sense because he's dealing with the earth.
Yeah, but like my thought process is, why can't he just like be a really powerful, magically inclined earth pony who happens to control magma?
How would he control magma without going into something magical if it's going to be an earth pony?
Well, like, because earth ponies apparently have control of the earth to a certain extent, and if he's, like, really, really powerful, because, like, apparently those shackles cut off his magical ability.
Which fits with the earth pony being a prominent
Precisely,
trait.
So apparently it's in his hoofs, because he does not have a magical inhibitor on that horn.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and
Why does he control the Wendigos? Migrations. Why?
Yeah, Wendigo...
Because that seems like right out of left field.
Yeah, the Wendigo thing is that's more kind of ice-based.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it makes sense that it would be a weakness, like you stated that apparently he's weak to Wendigo alphas?
And he's weak to cold and ice magic, so...
How he yeah, my brain hurts. Please explain this in a revised version of his backstory.
I mean, it's kind of like I'm learning in a class that if you make a statement of something, you're making a claim on reality and how it should be. So
within this AU.
Within this AU, you're making a claim of how this world works. And so if you're going to make such drastic claims, you have to back them up for us to get them.
Yes.
Because right now it's just choppy and it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So easily fixable. Just explaining things and whatnot.
Yes.
So yes, now we may move on to aesthetics.
Can you please pull up the color picker and go at his hair?
Alrighty. Burn. Oop. I need brush. Shut up, Photoshop. Burn. That is like the reddest red we could
Okay. Okay. Time for a little bit of colors theory, ladies and gents. Okay, you see this corner, and this corner. When picking colors for your OC, it is wise to not pick from those for major parts of their design. Like the mane.
Mm-hmm. Which is all the
right
way up,
there.
Which is all the way up there.
I'm willing to bet the yellow is right there as well.
Very close.
Very close. Right there at the top. And
the eyes,
a little bit darker.
I actually don't mind
the coat color is not bad.
Yeah, I don't mind the coat color.
It is that red mane.
Mm-hmm.
Because is his mane supposed to be lava? Because if so, there's ways you can make that look so freaking cool.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
So, maybe bring it a little bit more down, a little bit up, no, up. Right there, maybe.
Right there?
Yeah. And put on another layer.
I have it separate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Two different ponies. I was prepared.
Okay.
Isn't Photoshop a beautiful thing?
It is. Okay. So, there's ways you can make this look like magma if that's what you were going for. Because I have a feeling you were trying to go for kind of a fiery look. And there's ways...
Oh my!
Oh my, what'd you do?
There we go. Yeah, boop. Streaks. I mean, there's when you're going with such a main style that's very hair looking, basically, it's a little hard to pull off a actual magma kind of look, but I think you can achieve the same exact results without going all the way out here.
Yeah.
Because right now, my eyes feel very relaxed with this color.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you can probably brighten it just a smidge, but keeping it away from the corners.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we go back to where it was, maybe go a little brighter.
Yeah.
If you insist on it being a little brighter.
Yeah.
Kind of like that a little better.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I think I don't know exactly what she's going for with the design, but I feel like you were trying to go for a flame look or a living magma on his head. It needs a little bit of work on that aspect.
I mean, because, okay, super sketchy time.
Yay, sketchy time.
Alright, and I'm going to be sketching in black. Probably more of a dark gray, so that way it's... Because some ways I've seen magma, because magma's very droopy, very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So the magma main might be drooping all the way down here and might be pooling. So, and what's cool is as he's walking past, maybe we can have hardened lava that's rock-like now.
Mm-hmm.
The following trailing behind him. The tail might also be the same. The tail can come down. It can kind of droop behind him and give off a warm glow to him, which could be really, really interesting. But if you're not wanting to do with that, then boop, boop. Then you could just go with a simple flame hawk almost.
You and your mohawks.
Hey, mohawks are awesome. I have one. Or close to one.
You have a mohawk.
It's technically a faux hawk because I'm not I don't have scalp showing on the sides.
Oh, you're talking about in real life. I thought I was referring to your OC.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
I have a faux hawk in real life. Because like if you do like a flame kind of mane, the edges will be sharp, and it'll kind of give him an edginess and make him stand out a lot. And the tail, you might have to play with it, but you can like maybe easily just like kind of do something kind of like so, or maybe something a little bit more. Because like something that's going up like this might be a little weird.
Yeah, especially for the tail.
For the tail, so you can get go more fur-like with the tail.
I think you can push it depends on what you want to do. I think you just pushing the flame aspect a little bit more would make the OC at least a little bit more coherent. Okay. And
you want to discuss the cutie mark?
Oh yes, I do want to discuss the cutie mark. Well, besides the fact that we had to go to a separate image to find it.
That's why I pulled it up.
Yeah, because it is covered up by his wing. The cutie mark itself, bravos for keeping it very simple, but I'm getting eye of Sauron here.
Yeah, I can see that. Let me have it for a second. Hang on. Brush library! Don't look at it! Okay. Okay, let me... Okay.
Oh my gosh.
He sees you.
Oh my
We
god.
apologize. We couldn't help it. Let's undo that. Okay. Oh my gosh, how many brush strokes did you make?
I don't know.
Hello, Maine. Okay. One thing I probably would do, I kind of like the crack idea. It's kind of gives it a lava flow. The fact that like one side's kind of this nice gentle swoop, another one is very much more sharper incline is a little distracting because it's not quite uniform, especially for something like a volcano. Probably for because volcanoes usually don't really look like having this sharp edge right here, so I would probably just oops. Brush library! Go away! Okay. Yes, I'm going to be doing that every single time. Just kind of like level it out just right there. That'll be fine. And, maybe even get rid of... No, I don't want to deal with that. Well, you can get rid of these points, and then because I actually kind of like these cracks. It's very interesting, and you can just kind of maybe just continue them down if you want. Kind of.
Actually, I think one big lava flow from the top to almost the bottom, and then have a cooling gradient from the top to the bottom. Kind of have it kind of push slightly that way. Get a slight curve so it's kind of looks like it's going down the side.
Please forgive my sloppiness, everybody.
Again, this is very quick sketching of just getting general ideas out.
I promise my artwork looks better than this.
Yes, you can check on her DA. They are so much better. And then kind of
Are you saying my drawings now look so terrible?
No, your drawing style is amazing.
I'm so offended. I'm just teasing. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And then...
I kind of do...
Okay, that's going to affect that a little bit. But oh well. We'll just continue. And then, so maybe a brown. Maybe a reddish brown.
Yeah. Maybe right there.
Hello!
What on earth did you do?
Oh, I know what it is. Something I did for an art project.
Turn on the reverse, or do it from the bottom. There we go. Kind of like that, and then maybe add in the cracks. A little bit of crackage.
Just kind of just me.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah!
But again, just idea.
Just ideas. You can completely disregard it, but you asked for our opinion, so we are graciously giving it to you.
So yes, if we can go to the before and after ones.
Okay. Let me...
Okay.
Da-boop, da-boop.
So we have the original, a little bit too saturated on the color of the mane. Maybe just alter it or completely redesign the mane, personally, I think would go better with the character. So tone down a smidge if you go ahead and keep the main design. And then maybe make it look...
either like droopy lava-ish, and like these are just ideas, you know, for improvement.
Brainstorm.
We're brainstorming.
Have fun with this. This is...
I mean, it's My Little Pony. Think outside the box.
Yes, which you have done with the backstory, but it needs some...
It needs to be brought back just a little bit for believability's sake.
I don't know exactly brought back, but fill in the narrative holes.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So this is just brainstorming. So, like maybe droopy lava that cools and hardens to rock as he walks by, or just rock and roller flame style.
Yeah.
So that's what we got. So okay. I hope this helps, and you will get a smiley face. Or me. Yay! All right.
So, thank you all for joining us for our first official OC review show. If you have a OC, a fan fiction, or any fan created work really, and would like us to review or critique it or just talk about it, please leave a link to it in the description below, or you may send it to our DeviantArt page or our email. All of the information will be on the screen and in the description below. So, until next time, guys, I'm CountessRose.
And I'm Firescales.
Have a good day. Bye-bye!